Well, the liberal media setting their sights on Democratic House and Senate victories for 2018. But are they writing off Republican chances too soon?
Let's ask RNC Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel joining us live. Nice to see you, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning. Great to see you.
All right. So fair to say, historically, the party out of power and certainly out of the White House has the upper hand midterms 2018. Do you guys feel that's true this time, or are you going to buck the trend?
Well, we've been preparing for that. We know historically the party that holds the White House loses seats in the midterms, and that's why the RNC has been on the ground from the beginning of this year. We're already in 21 states working our field program. We've raised unprecedented amounts of money that we're putting into these states early, building out our field program so that we can win in these midterms. And then let's look at the record of Republicans and this president this first year. Unemployment at a 17-year low, consumer confidence at a record high. You look at the Dow. You look at these tax cuts, so what it's going to mean for the middle class to get more money in their paychecks. We are delivering on promises that we made. We have an accomplishment column that is very large, and the Democrats have nothing to run on. They've done nothing this year, and I just don't think that's going to resonate in 2018.
Just to push you on that, why do you think that's not showing up in polling? Because you look at the generic ballot, Democrats are up by double digits on that. You look at even with the tax reform law, we know that even liberal groups are saying that 80% of Americans will get a tax cut. But you look at polling even from the Wall Street Journal saying that only 17% of Americans think they're getting a tax cut. So why is what you just said, why is that not translating to what the polls are showing?
So we're in the battleground states at the RNC, and we're dealing with the voters that we're directly going to be looking for their votes for come November of 2018. And that's where we see the numbers very positive for the tax cuts and for tax reform. And we take those numbers to the president. So overall polling across the country maybe don't show that. You've got to look at the sample size. But as we're in these battleground states, and that's the benefit of the RNC, we're in there early. We're talking to our voters early, and this is resonating across the board. You know, it's interesting. Joe Manchin went home to West Virginia to a big banner that said, "We'll remember in November." And because of our field program, we're on the ground in unprecedented levels before a midterm election. We are going to make sure that voters remember in November that Democrats voted no across the board for middle-class tax cuts. And as this economy continues to roll and we see GDP grow and we see jobs come back and we see wages go up, we're going to make sure voters know that it's Republican leadership under the leader of President Trump, the leadership of President Trump, that have done this, and Democrats have sat on their hands and doubled down on this resist and obstruct playbook that's not working for the American people.
But it's not just Democrats. He's talking about starting early. Never Trumper Jeff Flake has come out and said the president is inviting a challenge. So as you talk to the grassroots, is there a base for a challenge to this president, or is this just the Republican resist movement in its last gasp?
The base of our party is so pleased with the president right now. This year of accomplishments, this year in review, you look at the judicial appointments, you look at what he's done for veterans. Our military is getting a pay raise for the first time. Our country is safer. Our economy is doing better. Jobs are coming back. Wages are going up. I just can't imagine anyone running against a record like this. And this is just the first year. Imagine where we'll be next November as we see our economy continue to grow under the great policies coming from Republicans.
And we have to leave it right there, but the fundraising numbers have shown that as well, as the RNC has dramatically outraised the DNC as well. Ronna McDaniel, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Ronna.
We appreciate it.
Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.